The other day, one of my coworkers hit me up and he asked me, hey, what's the best starter bike? I told him, hey, what you trying to get into? What kind of riding you trying to get into? You trying to be a sport bike rider? You trying to be a Harley bike rider? You trying to be an adventure bike rider? What kind of riding you trying to get into? He basically told me, I'm trying to do the same thing you do. What I do, I ride to work, I ride home, I do occasional rides on the weekend. I don't ride that often, as y'all know. I explained to him, that's all the type of riding I really do. He said, yeah, that's what he's trying to do. What are you trying to get into? I said, all right, bet. What kind of experience you got riding a bike? Have you ever ridden a bike before? You be riding dirt bikes, ATVs. What kind of riding have you done? So yeah, there's a little bit of dirt bike riding in his past, and some ATV riding, basic shit. I asked him, what kind of bike you trying to get into? Like, you want a super sport? You want a sport touring like this? You want like a naked bike? You want a full fared bike? What kind of bike you trying to look at? This dude first went to, what do you say, S1K? I said, no. First of all, you ain't got the bread to be doing that. That's a BMW. Them things out the gate is like 30, 40 G's. More than that, actually, I think. I don't know, but them things is expensive. R1's expensive. Liter bikes, I told him, bro, liter bikes, 1, they expensive out the door. 2, insurance gonna be out the ass. 3, they expensive as fuck to fix. So you gotta weigh out your options. And 2, starting out, bro, get something smaller. Get like he said he got experience riding dirt bikes, but he said that was like 10, 15 years ago. So, bro, get you a little 650 like I got. Start off, give it like a year. You're gonna get bored of it. I'm bored of this motherfucker already. I've had it for not even a full year yet. But I had that SV before I got this. So I guess I've been riding the 650 for a little over a year now, because I had that for like 2 months or some shit before I crashed that. So yeah, I told him, get something like this, something to start off with. He's kind of a bigger dude, so this might be a little too small for him. But you got to learn the basics first. You don't want to go and get something big and then not learn properly and end up crashing and shit, totaling it. Then you just like out of a bike and you don't know what to do. So I told him, get something smaller. I said nothing smaller than a 650. You don't want to go smaller than a 650. For him specifically, because he has some past experience on dirt bikes. But for someone that has zero experience, I had zero experience when I first got into this. And I got that SV 650. That was a good bike to learn on. But like I said, I only had it for like a month or two, so I didn't really learn much on it. But Shigo here, I've learned a lot on her. Also a 650. So honestly, if you're a beginner, it all depends on your confidence level too. If you going into it like you scared, I would start off on like a 400, like a Ninja 400, 500, maybe like a R3, a Yamaha R3 or something. I'd start off smaller, and then once you gain the confidence of riding a bike on the street in traffic around people, then work your way up the totem pole. But with him, I told him 650. Honestly, bro, start with a 650, and work your way up from there. I think, honestly, once you learn the 650, you should be good to jump up to a liter bike if you really bought it. If you're confident enough, if you think, you can handle it. But I wouldn't jump in. If you start with a 650 and you jump straight to a liter bike, don't get that liter bike thinking you know what you're doing. Treat it as a 650. Ride it like you're riding a 650, like you're still trying to learn how to ride a bike. Don't go balls to the wall because you got a liter bike. I told him you can get one of these. These aren't a super sport bike, so there's a sport touring bike. So you're like sitting up more. You're not like crouched over in a super sport aggressive riding position. This is cool for a starter bike. It don't got the most power. It's a parallel twin, so it's not an inline 4. You don't got all the crazy aggressive horsepower and foot-pounds of torque. It has 97 horsepower and was it like 48.5 foot-pounds of torque. So it's pretty torquey in the low end. Once you get in like 4th, 5th, 6th gear is when you lose most of that power. You don't have a whole lot of power with this bike. Now I gave him a few other examples of some different bikes he can look into. I told him like the 636, the ZX6R, or like a Gixxer 600 or a Gixxer 750. I think those are all decently good starter bikes too. The 636 is an inline 4, has what, 127 horsepower, 50 foot-pounds of torque. So it's definitely faster and all around better than this bike. You got that aggressive seating style, which, you know, every sport bike rider loves. But it also too, they've been having a lot of recalls I've seen lately. 636, yeah, it's a good bike. The word around town is just the leader of the 600s. So when you look at all the class of 600cc bikes, that inline 4 and that 636 is what usually takes the cake. Or like the R6. I mean, most people like Yamahas over any other type of branded bike, in my opinion, is what I've seen. But yeah, the 636 is a good bike, man. You got that low end torque, more than this, so wheelies will be no issue. And that the inline 4, it has the low end torque, but it has more so of like the, once you get up in gears, that bitch is going and she will not stop. So that's the good thing about the inline 4s, man. I think they're just all around better. But it all depends on the type of riding you're trying to do. If you're doing aggressive sport riding and you want to go with the inline 4 rather than a parallel twin is not going to get you all the power that you really want. My case in point, with this bike, you don't get all the power that you really want. That's why it's a good starter bike, man. You don't get super crazy amounts of power that'll send you off the edge flying off this fucking bike. It will if you don't know what you're doing. Just typical day-to-day riding to and from work like I do. I think this 650 is perfect for that. You get a decent amount of power so you can have some fun on the freeway, but not crazy amount of fun where you get arrested for going criminal speeds and shit. But yeah, it's a good starter bike, man. I told him, like I told that guy, nothing less than a 650 for your big ass since you know what you're doing somewhat. So for new riders, I would definitely start, like if you're, you know, kind of iffy about what you need to start with, what's the best bike to start with, just figure out if you think you have the confidence enough to start with a slightly bigger bike. Because you have options. You got the, like I said, you got the R3 if you want to start off small. You got the Ninja 400. You got other 400cc bikes, other 300. You got the 250 if you want to go that small, but that's damn near like riding a moped. So just weigh out your options, see what you think would be good for you. Gauge your confidence level off the bat. Obviously, I suggest for everyone to go through an MSF course, just so you have a general understanding, like if you've never ridden a bike. You have a general understanding of how to ride a motorcycle. And you'll see your confidence level from there, whether you'll be confident enough on a slightly bigger engine bike or if you need something a little smaller to start off with. So just gauge your confidence level off the rip, and from there talk to people, get their experiences, and then see what would be best for you feasibly. Also too, think about the price of the bike, the insurance of the bike. Look at how much repairs would be if you'd break or crash certain things. There's a lot that goes into it, not just, you know, am I ready to ride a bigger type bike? Am I financially stable to, you know, fix this bike if I crash this bike? You know, upgrade to a bigger bike when I'm ready to get a bigger bike. What else? Yeah, man, just think about all those things before you just go and buy a bike. You don't want to get something and then a couple months later you're bored of it, which honestly I was bored of this a couple months into it, but you got to start somewhere. When it comes to buying the bike, I definitely suggest, if you have the bread for it, buying it brand new. Buying it brand new, you don't have to worry about nothing. The cosmetics, the mechanical side of it, everything's brand new, so you don't gotta worry about nothing. The only thing you really have to worry about is the price. That's the biggest thing. The price of the bike, the price of the taxes on the bike, the price of all the hidden fees they got, the price of them doing the paperwork for the DMV to register it and all that. Yeah, those prices are just eat your fucking wallet. But if you got the bread for it, I definitely suggest buying a brand new bike. But you also have to do the whole break-in bullshit, the whole 600-mile break-in, which I didn't really do too much of, I don't think. If you don't know, the 600-mile break-in is just riding the bike, at its lowest level so you can break in all the parts. Instead of buying a bike, going balls to the wall, riding it like you know what you're doing type shit. Because then, shit end up breaking. Break-in period, it kind of, if you think about it, it makes sense. Just like you buy a pair of shoes, you don't just take off running in them, you break them in. So it's the same concept with the bike. Which I don't really know why. I mean, it's not the same concept with, like a car or a truck. You just get in that bitch and start driving. So I don't know why it's really different with the bike. Anyways, I don't knock Marketplace because that's obviously where I bought my 650. It's just, this is a motorcycle, bro. You want it to be in sound mechanical shape because you get out there and start riding it, something happens, that's your life. In the car, something happens, whoop-de-doo, you get in a car crash, cool. Depending how fast you going, what happens. But majority of the time, you get in a car accident. You get in a motorcycle accident, that's broken bones, that's your life, man. So I have yet to see anybody fishy trying to sell a bike. I've yet to hear any stories of somebody selling a fucked up bike on Marketplace. So I think in the bike community, it's not really common to see that. Yeah, man, if you're gonna buy a bike off a Marketplace, just do your research. Ask around, see, read the little. I know on Marketplace it'll have different things they've sold or whatever, and then people can rate them. Read those. Do your research before you buy a bike from somebody. Do your research, period, before you buy a bike. What style of riding you gonna end up doing? What kind of bike you think you'll enjoy for a certain amount of time. You don't want to buy a bike and just be bored of it and then want to get a new one. Like me. I got this bike. I'm bored of this bike. I want a bigger bike. But that's all part of the learning process, man. You first start out, you get a bike, you learn, you upgrade. So yeah, do your research on what kind of bike you want and what style of riding you plan on doing. Don't just go on YouTube, watch a video, go on TikTok, watch a video, and be like, okay, I'm gonna get that bike. No, do your research. Sit here, okay, look at the specs of the bike, look at different views of different people on the specific bike you're looking at, and see what they say about it. Is it good for longevity? Is it good for these type of rides? Is it good for these type of rides? Will you get bored of it quickly? Is it something you can have for a few years or maybe the whole lifetime of the bike if you don't plan on getting another bike? So just do your research before you go and just buy a bike. But yeah, that's my spiel on the whole what are good beginner bikes. I'm not gonna say what's the best beginner bike because I haven't ridden all the bikes in the world, so I don't know what the best bikes are. I've ridden 2 bikes, my SV and this, so I can't really tell you. It all depends on your riding style, your experience, and your confidence level, and your bag, how much bread you got. Those are really the top 4 things. So yeah, do your research, man, before you go and buy a bike. Really sit and deep dive, figure out what you want, and go from there, man. But yeah, that's about it. I will catch you on the next one, man. Be safe, stay dangerous, stay diligent, mind your P's and Q's, cross your T's, dot your I's, man. I'll catch you on the next one, man. Zoom gang. Peace.